Let's take a look at lesson 16.2, angle measures and angle bisectors. In the last lesson, we looked at and learned about undefined terms, defined terms, distance formula, midpoint formula, things that have to do with segments or lines. And here we're going to focus primarily on just angles. We're going to skip all the parts in here that have to do with constructing. So when it asks you to construct something using a straightedge or a compass, that's something that we're going to worry about at a later time in class. Here we have the definition of an angle and how it looks. We're also going to focus in on how we name them, how we draw them, and also measuring them. So an angle is formed by two rays with the same endpoint. Those are words that you've seen in the last lesson, so make sure you watch that video if you need to. The common endpoint is the vertex, so I'm going to identify that here on my picture on the right side. So Q here is the vertex. All right, it's the common endpoint of the two rays, or what I would call the two sides of the angle. The way we name an angle has to use three letters. There is a way we can use one letter. I'll get to that soon. But usually you're going to be using three letters. And for this angle on the right side, we would name it with this angle symbol right here, angle notation, and then PQR. The order of this is very, very important. The second letter or the middle letter has to be the vertex. So if you put Q anywhere else, you're not naming this angle correctly. P and R are interchangeable. It just has to be a point from one side of the angle and a point from another side of the angle. So another way we can name this is angle RQP. And that's the only way we can name it, only other way we can name it, using the three letters. So the other ways of naming this angle without using the three letters is if there is a number inside. So let's just say I put the number 3 in here, or it's given to you like that. Another way I could name this is angle 3. And that is a lot more convenient for us because we don't have to write as much. And then the other way, be careful doing it this way, but we could call this angle just angle Q. And we can only, if it's only one letter, we have to use the vertex letter. But like I said, you want to be careful because if there are other angles that use the same vertex, we can't name it that way. That's why I mainly want you to use the first two, right? The third one, angle 3, is for convenience and if there's a number already inside. And the last one, again, is for convenience, but use caution when naming it that way. Now I want you to try your turn at the bottom. Just do number 4 since we're not going to be doing any construction right now. So I want you to name angle 2 in as many ways as possible. Angle 2, it already gives you angle 2. It's this one right here on the picture. So we could name this angle BEA. We could name it angle AEB. Remember, what's important is that the second letter in all of those names is the vertex. Now, we cannot name it angle E. Okay, think about why. So we cannot use this. So if you write that down, cross it out or erase it, or you can even cross it out just to tell you that you can't name it that way. We do have other angles that have the same vertex. So now we're going to measure angles. I won't be able to show you a protractor here on this video, actually using it and measuring, so make sure you get the practice in if you're not sure how to measure angles. Now we have 4 types of angles. This should be review. We measure them in degrees, and so when the angle is in between 0 degrees and 90 degrees, we have what's called an acute angle. Could look like that. A right angle always is 90 degrees. Obtuse is between 90 and 180. and straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. You can see a straight angle because the two rays that meet at the vertex A form a straight line. We also call them opposite rays. We're not going to worry about anything that's bigger than this, and so 180 is the max. Although, remember that we have 360 degrees if we go all the way around. I'd like you to use a protractor to measure for your turns number 7 and number 8. And since I can't show you, I'm just going to give you the answers in a few seconds here on the video. So go ahead and try to measure it. For number 7, I'm getting about 40 degrees. It's okay if it's a little bit off. Because measurement always involves some sort of human error sometimes, so that's okay. For number 8, I'm getting about 104 degrees. Okay, if you're getting a little bit more, a little bit less than that. I would say if it's off by 1 or 2 degrees, I'm not going to worry a whole lot. Okay, just know how to use a protractor. And the biggest mistakes I'll see is when using a protractor, using the wrong side of the using the inside numbers or the outside numbers, which means you're going to be pretty significantly off of your measurement, the correct measurement. The next example is about angle bisectors. So first you see the definition of an angle bisector. Bisector was actually a term you saw in the last lesson, a segment bisector. So anytime you see the word bisector, just think cut in half. So in terms of angles, imagine an angle being cut in half this time, not a segment being cut in half. Since we're going to be breaking up an angle into 2 pieces, we need this next postulate, angle addition postulate, which says that if I add one part of my angle, let's say this one, this is angle PQS, and if I add that to this other angle right next to it, angle SQR, then the measurement of those 2 angles added together is going to equal this whole angle, which seems obvious, but we need to spell that out in a postulate. Specifically, if we have an angle bisector, which here in this picture on the right, ray BD right here is your angle bisector. So a ray bisects the angle. This is angle ABC, and you can see this little mark right here means that anything with the same mark is congruent to each other or equal in measurement. Okay, so there aren't any examples of this that you'll see in your homework assignment. So I'm going to kind of make one up, or at least tell you what to expect on there. Let's erase some of these markings, and then let's say that measure of angle PQS is 2 times x degrees. The measure of angle SQR is 70. And the measure of angle PQR is 92. And I forgot degrees. Remember that our units are degrees for these measurements of angles. And the question for this could be, what is x? Right? If you use the same exact diagram in our postulate, I could ask, what's the measure of angle PQS? And so all you have to know is that if you take angle PQS, which is this one right here, and add it with angle SQR, then it's going to equal the whole thing and equal angle PQR. And I should be saying measurement of those angles. So it would be 2x plus 70 equals 92. And I'm not going to go through solving that, but that would be the setup using our angle addition postulate. And what's nice about when we have angle bisectors, I'm not going to make up an example with this one, but if I know what the measure of this one is, whether it's a specific measurement, like if it's 60 degrees, or if it's an expression, like if it's x plus 10, I know that this other angle right here will be exactly the same. Right? It'll be 60 like the other one, or it'll be x plus 10 like the other one. stuff like that. So that could help you with setting up your equations should you need to.